of the actual stick itself, then I think you're good to go. A lot of times what you'll see is guys, they'll take their hands off their stick and kind of throw their elbow in there, and you can't do that. But as far as having your hand on the top of the head and going like that, I think as long as you're not really punching your opponent, they're not really going to call that. Any other questions? I'm great. Go ahead.
Have you personally gone away from the one-up, one-down, or will you still use that at times?
I've never ever used the one-up, one-down, ever. Since the 8th grade on, I've been double over. So, you know, I can't speak on the one-up, one-down, but I'll just tell you that most of the guys nowadays in both the pro league and in college are using the motorcycle grip. Questions on grip? Okay.
Try to have it shoulder width apart.
Pretty much shoulder width apart is where you want to have your grip.
As I get down, if I were to get down with a traditional grip and clamp,
And like I said, this
I
is
cannot, as you can see, my elbow cannot extend past this point.
a rough copy of the DVD here. Pretty much what you want to do is you want to hold your hands out, and that's about how far your hands should be apart. A lot of guys, their grip tends to be too close together. And
Feet close to the line,
that can
as
really
close as you
affect
can get,
what they're doing.
and a little more than shoulder width apart. If you notice my feet, I have one foot pointed towards the ball and one foot pointed downfield. This allows me to get to a balanced and a good posture. As I get down to the ball, it's important that I'm not sitting on my haunches like this. My back should be arched and sloped down at a downward angle towards my opponent. As I get in my stance and I approach the ball, the key thing for a stance is to make sure you have your elbows locked inside of your knees. For instance, as I approach the ball, if you notice my left elbow here and my right elbow here, my legs are driving into my arms, which gives me power in my stance. As opposed to a lot of face-up guys I see have their elbows outside their legs, which gives them less power. In addition, I see a lot of face-up guys line up with one knee, even less power. What you need to do is as you line up, it's important to have your elbows in here, so as I step and I move my body, I'm driving my legs into my arms, which gives me power in my stance. As you can see, even when I drop down and if I'm in a scrum, my knees are never touching the ground. My legs are driving my elbows into the ball, allowing me to spin around. It's really important that every player learns immediately to have their elbows inside of their knees. Those are some key things.
So what we're talking about in stance is that when I approach the ball, I want to get in a balanced stance. But when I have my right foot pointed down towards my opponent here, and my left foot pointed towards the goal. But what I'm really harping on here is when I do get down, you see a lot of young guys, especially youth players, and they sit and their back is angled downwards. You got to make sure that your head is down on a slope towards your opponent, as opposed to vice versa, because you're really off balance there. In addition to that, what I'm really talking about here is having your elbows inside of your knees. I'm not a particularly big guy. I know 5'9", 185 pounds, but I'll go against and I'll push guys off the ball that are 6'4", 240. And the reason is because they're using their arms, and as you can see kind of there, I'm driving with my legs. So as I do get down in that position, I am clamping. When I do punch, as you guys can see, it's my legs that are driving my arms into the face-off, as opposed to some of those guys in a traditional grip. When you are using a traditional grip, it's very tough to kind of get that elbow inside your knee when you have your one hand up. That's just another benefit of the motorcycle grip there. So as I do get down, my elbows are between my knees, so that way when I do have to back my feet off, it's really my legs, my quads are driving my hands. And that's what gives me the power to push some of those bigger guys off the ball. Questions on stance?
Traditionally, the lead foot, we've been taught, steps down the line, but looking at the video, yours never steps down the line.
Yeah, your lead foot is always supposed to step. Your right foot is always supposed to step. We'll get into that as far as the clamp. I think right here, I'm just kind of showing basically how to get down. Other questions on stance? Okay. One of the other things with the lead foot that I just want to mention real quick is that many people, they step with the right foot, and you hear the old adage, you step with the right foot to prevent fast breaks. The real, that's part of it. But the other side of the coin is we want to step with the right foot to also
For spot,
for balance.
which is, as I clamp,
So now we're going to talk a little bit about the clamp.
punching my left hand, rolling my right, I step, I pull the ball between my legs at an angle so my opponent can't get by me. At this point here, I want to put up my right arm to prevent him from slashing me or trying to check me, and then I scoop with my left and roll out. That's what a clamp should look like every time.
So basically what I'm doing is going over a basic clamp here with a double over grip. And one of the keys to clamping really the big key to clamping is punching with your right hand. As you'll see in this segment here, when you punch with that right hand, that's what creates the separation. And that's basically, our goal
This
is
is, it creates a wedge in between my stick and the opponent's. Once again, it looks something like this. Okay? Now, as I'm doing that, okay, it's very important to step with this right foot for two reasons. One, as I step with my right foot, I'm using it as balance. So I'm pushing up this foot to pull the ball behind or to pull the ball forward. Two, if I step with my right foot and my opponent does get the ball, it's a defensive move and it may stop him from getting a fast break. So when clamping,
that right foot, when you guys are teaching your young guys and your high school guys how to clamp, that right foot, when I'm clamping, it becomes that pivot foot. I'm pushing off that foot. You see people fast break in the MLL game. You see people fast break in college. What they're doing is they're stepping with that right foot to pull the ball around their opponent. They're stepping with their right foot to pull the ball behind to give them power to do that. So when you hear people should be stepping with their right foot to block their opponent on a fast break, they're right. But you also got to teach those guys to step and use that foot as kind of a lever pivot foot to push off and pull the ball behind, push off and pull the ball forward as well. And that's with every move you're going to do, whether it's a pinch or a clamp or whatever it is.
the move should look something like,
What's that?
Is that done at the same time as you're clamping, or are you clamping then stepping?
Good question. The first thing I'm doing is creating that separation, punching my right hand in there, and as I'm doing that, I'm stepping at the same time. So it should be a fluid motion. It shouldn't be a punch and then a step. It should be kind of done at the same time. So my foot should be in the air as I'm punching and creating that separation. I should also be stepping. So it's kind of the same time.
like this, in slow motion. I come down, I punch my left hand out while rolling my right. Step. Put 80% of your weight on this right foot, because you should use this right foot to propel yourself behind and then scoop the ball up. In addition, when putting the ball behind on a clamp, it is extremely important we don't do this. Never put the ball here, because you're allowing your opponent a chance to get around you for an offensive fast break. In addition, never put the ball to the side. Once again, you're allowing your opponent to get the ball here. Not only that, but you have two wingmen running in on the side ready to kill you. It's very important when clamping that you place the ball in the proper spot, which is, as I clamp, punching my left hand, rolling my right, I step, I pull the ball between my legs at an angle so my opponent can't get by me. At this point here, I want to put up my right arm to prevent him from slashing me or trying to check me, and then I scoop with my left and roll out. That's what a clamp should look like every time.
What I'm kind of describing here is the fact that
Now I'll be like,
it's really important nowadays to pay attention to not only the actual move itself, but to ball placement. One of the things I've learned is that where you place the ball, where you coach your kids to place the ball, and how you coach your wingmen is going to be most of your face-off success. A lot of guys can do the moves. A lot of guys know how to do the moves. But the bottom line is when push comes to shove, even if your player is winning the actual clamp himself and he's getting the actual draw, if he's not going to put it out in the right direction, you guys aren't going to get possession. So it's important to coach those players on where to put the ball, how to put